Hello everyone. Every day Autodesk customers use Autodesk software to shape the world through their creations. With over 10 million customers in 185 countries, Autodesk is everywhere. If you've ever driven a stylish car, admired a towering skyscraper, or watched a great special effects film, chances are you've experienced what Autodesk customers can do with Autodesk software. My name is Wendy Finch. I work at the PPI Group, an authorized Autodesk Gold Level reseller, and I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. Today I'd like to talk about how Autodesk and its customers, like you, can help build on BIM to innovate and help improve profitability in construction projects. We'll be discussing and demonstrating how innovation is your opportunity. By expanding your use of BIM within existing workflows and using BIM to innovate with new services, BIM can help increase the value of your software investment, provide better project performance, and open the door for opportunities for new revenue streams. The three examples we'll be demonstrating is quantification, renovation and retrofit, and point layout. At the end of these short demonstrations, we'll be offering a roundtable discussion to address your questions. I hope you'll all take advantage of our elite group of PPI experts who will speak to the unique business model PPI Group offers. From Autodesk software to Faro scanners and TopCon total stations, we have the solutions you're looking for. Now, let's get started with why you're all here today. Autodesk works closely with construction companies like yours to help you stay competitive and grow your business as you deliver projects with more predictability and less risk of unseen conflicts, changes, and schedule delays that can drive up the cost of materials, labor, and the overall project. Let's look at the trends impacting your business. Then we'll talk about how Autodesk software can help you succeed in today's challenging construction industry. The last decade has been a difficult time for the construction industry, with significant declines in production volumes and profit margins due to the global economic recession. Some building companies went under. Many more were forced to make serious cutbacks. Now, as economies around the world slowly rebound from the global financial crisis, the building and construction industry is once again experiencing modest growth. For example, the AIA's Consensus Construction Forecast predicts that pent-up demand in the United States will lead to an extended period of construction gains, with non-residential building activity increasing almost 6% in 2014 and 8% in 2015. But lingering economic uncertainties have resulted in challenging building markets. So although construction spending is increasing, competition remains stiff and firms are under pressure to deliver projects faster and cheaper, which makes this very interesting time for the construction industry, a time when innovation may well hold the key to a company's success. At the close of the 20th century, the process for construction buildings had not changed dramatically in 50 years. Architects and engineers designed the building and produced drawings that the contractor used for construction. However, the rapid adoption of building information modeling in the last decade suggests that the construction industry is quickly moving away from those traditional building processes and embracing new methods and technologies for building delivery. Technology, including BIM software, helped contractors ride out the economic turmoil, win new work, and even make a profit in a climate with lower bidding volumes and tighter margins. In fact, model-based workflows and tools are becoming the norm. The 2013 McGraw-Hill Construction Report illustrates that over the next 2 years, contractors expect the percentage of their work involving BIM to increase by 50% on average. Back when plans were done on paper, the estimator measured off the plan to establish quantities of materials required to construct the building and ultimately the cost. With the emergence of 2D CAD came tools that let you perform the takeoff digitally, making the measuring and recording process faster. And now we are in the era of BIM. The extensive information in a BIM model allows estimators to quickly and efficiently extract accurate quantities, rather than having to rely on time-consuming manual process of measuring a 2D plan and adding information. There's a lot of skill and experience involved in determining quantities and cost, and we have seen technologies emerge that leverage BIM to make the measuring easier and more accurate. BIM allows to deliver quantities and cost estimates faster and contribute to the project's success by suggesting more efficient alternatives. With a model-based approach, your estimators can make more accurate cost estimates by collecting and synchronizing design data and images as they calculate material quantities for all building systems and components. Conceptual estimates can help you evaluate project feasibility and profitability. Using a single catalog across the organization to generate takeoffs means you're sharing knowledge and also helps you achieve consistency and ultimately gain insight by comparing projects. As the project progresses, you can add additional levels of detail to the preliminary estimates and ultimately generate production plans using this information. The built-in change management helps you keep track of what's been added, where quantities have changed, and which objects have been removed. At all stages, you can generate a bill of materials and quantify the area of spaces using your project model. Let's review our first
demo video for model-based quantification.
Today's estimating processes rely heavily on 2D documentation and manual counting of project elements and components, which can be error-prone and very time-consuming. Leveraging a model-based workflow for quantification can reduce the time it takes to generate project quantities and enable workflows for adding valuable construction information to the project elements during the process. Here we can see how Autodesk Construction Solutions offers several ways to gain access to quantity information early in the planning process. By leveraging tools directly from the modeling applications, we can quickly get a high-level understanding of the project quantities. Schedules or tables of data built from the model created by the designer can be used by adding counts and totals, or a custom table can be generated on the fly to give you the feedback and quantities from the model information immediately. Here we are working with item and resource catalog information in order to classify the model elements further than the model authoring tools can. With the catalogs available, we quantify the model using intuitive and easy-to-use tools in Navisworks. The quantification workbook is our central location to create and manage the quantities within our model. We simply select an appropriate item within the catalog for quantification, and we can either drag and drop elements from the model to the appropriate items, right-click on any model element and select the catalog item to use, or use a toolbar to quantify the elements on the fly. As we see here, once elements from the model are quantified, their display in the model is updated with the color and transparency settings from the catalog. This ensures that we can see exactly what has been quantified and can quickly toggle between showing the model elements that are done versus the elements that haven't. The workbook also leverages the item breakdown structures and the resource breakdown structures, in that we can see a roll-up of the total quantities for an item collection with its resources, as well as the individual element detail data. To complete the quantification of the model, we simply continue to work through the workbook and pull model quantities into the system. 2D takeoff can now be done by using the new intuitive and easy to use 2D takeoff tools directly in Navisworks. This can be done by opening the item catalog, drilling down to the appropriate categories, and adding the new items we plan to take off. Drawings can be cleaned up by using the Hide Background and Annotations tool in the Navisworks Quantification Workbook. This allows you to hide all of the notes, room names, section markers, and more. We start by selecting the item type in the quantification workbook. Here we are taking off walls by selecting the wall line and then wall line type. We can also use other tools such as the polyline tool and even the rectangular polyline tool. As we are taking off these items, they are being individually added to the quantification workbook, as well as being added together for a total. We can edit any line that we have previously placed. We can add multiple elements at a time through the selection tree. Select elements we want to take off. Take off to interior walls. And the Navisworks Quantification Workbook will be updated. Another challenge the quantification and estimating of building projects face on a regular basis is the fact that project information inevitably changes. With a model-based approach and the use of the Autodesk construction solution, the management of changes is easy and effective. Because we are working with a model, the changes can be incorporated and tracked using Navisworks very easily. We see that the model within Navisworks has been refreshed, and we run an analysis for the quantities to see what has changed. An intuitive set of icons is showing us the changes and how they affect the quantification, along with tooltips that display the details of the changes. We can either accept the changes and they are incorporated into the new quantification, or we can remove the existing quantities and perform a fresh takeoff for the new and updated elements.
Model-based takeoff is faster
and makes use of the information already available in the model. You can use the same tool and the same model that is already being used for coordination, project review, and 4D simulation.
Navisworks lets you generate a takeoff from both model and 2D sheets, so you can use whichever is available to you at any given time, and also enrich the information. Using faster takeoff, you can more quickly generate quantities from the model with just a few clicks, providing you with more insight. When limited information is available and you supplement it with data from your experience, it is important to capture this so it can be better understood by other team members. Navisworks Quantification lets you capture this information. And finally, the integrated change management makes it possible to perform quantity takeoff early on in the project and iterate through changes. This also means you get a better understanding of the impact of various design changes on quantities and costs. Let's talk about the renovation and retrofit. This is where you can integrate laser scanning into your BIM workflow to document as-built conditions as the basis for 3D design and layout. A key tool that can help you better leverage building information modeling in renovation and retrofit projects is Autodesk ReCap. Supporting all types of laser scan data, ReCap helps to provide photorealistic visualization of existing as-built conditions. Integrating into BIM's design tools, you have precise information for building renovation, giving you more accurate as-built conditions for renovation design. Construction verification. Verify the as-built conditions for construction to measure progress on the project. Support for major text-based and 3D laser scan data. Simple tools that help you edit, clean, and organize point clouds. Let's watch the demo for Autodesk ReCap Reality Capture.
With Autodesk Reality Capture, you integrate Reality Capture directly into your design process and easily process point clouds in the field with targetless registration and open scanner support. The Autodesk ReCap point cloud and image-based 3D modeling software and services work seamlessly with the Autodesk Design and Creation suites. You can start your design with accurate dimensions and full photo quality content rather than a blank screen. With Autodesk ReCap, you can produce high-quality visualizations from the photorealistic quality coming from the 3D laser scanners. Capture every detail with up to millimeters of precision. With laser scans, you minimize the space for errors when measuring with hands and text. You can view your scans in 3D, measure distances, angles, and add notes for your team. Scans that were captured in a few hours by driving a car along the streets collect massive amounts of data, over 1 billion points. With Autodesk ReCap 2015's improved performance, no matter the number of points, you will smoothly fly through your point model. Scanning is quicker and more efficient than hand measure-ups, and with scanning, you can record all the small pipes and features that can help you manage your demolition and design process. With Autodesk ReCap Pro 2015, you can use a well-designed, intuitive interface to align scans and add coordinates while on the job site to confirm your results and required coverage before leaving the job. With photorealistic views from your scan positions, you can make design and site decisions, or interrogate your ReCap model by cutting sections or setting up views and move easily from one scan position to another. You can easily edit and prepare your point cloud for further use by defining regions and layers. Autodesk ReCap files integrate with Autodesk Design software. With Autodesk ReCap, you can produce as-built models and assure that your equipment will fit, or run clash analysis in Autodesk Navisworks. Creating floor plans is easy. You can add walls, floors, and more, connecting directly to the point cloud in Autodesk Revit. With Autodesk ReCap 360, you can even share your 3D scan data in the cloud. With Autodesk ReCap 360, you can access your ReCap data via your connected laptop or smartphone. With an intuitive dashboard, you can share scans to the cloud, create 3D photos, and share your projects with clients. Accessing your data in the cloud was never easier. View, measure, add hyperlinks to communicate your design intent, or add additional information. Upload photos to automatically create 3D models. Instead of modeling, which takes days, capture the whole urban site and have a 3D model within a day. Then bring your photo models into Autodesk Revit and do conceptual modeling, sun studies, and more. With the power of the cloud improving daily, you will see better, high-quality models quicker for a more efficient workflow, saving time and money.
Let's talk about getting BIM data in the field. There are several inefficiencies in today's typical layout process. Coordinated system layout is not really accessible to all building trades, and general contractors often rely on third parties or other subcontractors or trades to establish the layout. Inconsistencies in control lead to unpredictable field installations, and lack of electronic as-builts on the project translate into error-prone or manual entry of information. So how can we help fix these inefficiencies? By using a model-based approach and BIM, we can create and distribute project control that is more flexible, reliable, and consistent across all trades and subcontractors. Use robotic total stations to help increase the efficiency of layout, and lay out multiple trades at the same time with fewer people. I'd like to share with you a quick video on how customers are benefiting from Point Layout.
It's just so essential to be efficient, and you can't be any more efficient than working out all the details and issues before sending that information off to the field for installation.
Well, there was a lot of issues typically in construction with strings, tape measures, the old way of doing things. Conduits stubbing up through the concrete floor that weren't hitting the walls, and just a lot of cost and rework.
Three most important things I would say are coordination, coordination, and coordination.
Autodesk Point Layout is a software that allows us to affix a point within an object in a three-dimensional model, export that out to a total station, and use that in the field to actually lay out a specific point.
The idea behind it is to virtually build the project in the computer before we get guys on site.
I'm able to take all the information and all the coordination that we do within these models and take it out to the field by using survey coordinates. So our field engineers are actually laying out what we coordinated within the model.
Grid lines get put in the right spot, the walls get put in the right spot, the pipe penetrations get put in the right spot, electrical, everything just goes together seamlessly.
We'll create points where everything penetrates concrete, where there's duct shaft openings, hanger locations.
My favorite feature of the Autodesk Point Layout software is the automated layout. I'll isolate a specific type of point that I want to lay out, push the button, and it'll put down a point and a number for each one of those.
We were able to place points using Autodesk Point Layout software directly on families, even parametric families. We don't ever have to go back and update the locations of those points because they travel with the family.
You can select different wall types, you can select the middle of the wall, the exterior of the wall, the track, the finish, the top, bottom. It's seamless, it's fast, it gets you right out into the field.
And our layout person doesn't even have to be in the same state. We'll just email it to him and he'll load it in his data collector, level up the robot, and you hit a couple of control points that everybody on the job is using, so we're all building off of the same solid control points, and boom, you're ready to go. Just takes minutes.
We can set that total station up in a safe location and instruct our crews to lay out the points that are in safe areas to work. If we don't get all the points, the field is able to add points using Autodesk Navisworks Manage, which I am unaware of any other software application that allows that. They send that information back to us, we load that information back into our Revit model, and we know the new location of the item so we can easily as-built the model to the location that the field placed it.
So the drawing we give them is what the owner gets. Those are their as-builts.
Not only being able to extract the points from Revit, but also using it in an AutoCAD format. So that way, any 3D files that we get from a plumber or electrician in the CAD pipe or any CAD format, we are able to extract the points and export them in the survey coordinates.
When we pre-coordinate and then we fabricate off of those drawings that we just made, there's a lot less waste.
You could be building prefabricated bathrooms, while they're scratching dirt.
You can accurately lay out and you can know that you are doing your job correctly. That alleviates so much risk on a project that people really want to use this software.
We went from 30% of your sleeves being in the wrong spot to installing over 11,000 sleeves and only missing maybe 1 or 2.
As the technology increases, the companies that are using it are going to become more productive, which lowers the cost at bid time, which is going to force a lot of the guys that aren't using the technology out.
You are able to produce your work more accurately and efficiently with this program, which will save you money.
If you're building a hospital or a stadium or an office building or a grocery store or something, I don't know how you would do it without it.
It's awesome. I don't know how else to say it. If you're not using Autodesk Point Layout software, you're missing the boat.
Autodesk offers a solution that leverages both 2D and BIM data to help meet those challenges, called Autodesk Point Layout. It is a part of the broad Autodesk construction solution set that can enable construction firms like yours to create and manage a model-based approach for field layout. With Point Layout, you can create and manage field layout points from CAD and BIM data to help establish project-wide control for all trades that is automated, customizable, and encompasses all trades in all phases of construction. Establish a more coordinated, model-driven field layout process offering full traditional or robotic total station integration. Enable a system for improved QA/QC that provides better office-to-field and field-to-office efficiencies. Improve owner as-built models by collecting the information in real time and in digital formats to be directly imported and managed into the BIM and CAD models. Help reduce the time and cost of construction. Produce higher quality work while using less manpower and time on site. Let's run through some workflow for Autodesk Point Layout.
Let's now take a brief look at the capabilities of Autodesk Point Layout. We'll begin in Autodesk Revit using the add-on Autodesk Point Layout to create control points for our site. This is a powerful capability in that we can set up control either by manually picking points in our model or by placing them on a grid. And we can adjust that control to either be random or arbitrarily for our site and shared, or we can align it with real coordinates coming from either a field survey or a field control point. Alright, so now that we have our control, let's go ahead and start adding points to our model elements. In this case here, we'll use the manual point capabilities to go ahead and add some wall points. We can select either a work plane or an element, and simply doing that, now we have points added where we're clicking. There's also automated tools, and this is the real power behind it, where we're going to go through, set up numbering, set up descriptions, and it's going to automatically place these points for us based on a filter, in this case going through and looking at all the different family types. You'll see that these points are intelligent Revit objects. There's a family that gets created here, so in this case here it's part of that Revit model, not just a text file, if you will. The third way to add points to a model is to actually embed them into the families. So very powerful again in that now as we are modeling, we can have these points generated for us. So now it really becomes almost second nature to our design process and our constructability process to get this information. We've modified this column family, and now we can see that we can go ahead and see all the points that have been added to the center points of these columns. Quick and easy, integrated into our everyday workflow using the modeling tools. Once we have our points laid out the way we want to, it's a simple matter of now exporting those points out to a system in order to get them to our hardware, in this case maybe a total station. We'll go ahead and pick that coordinate system. Notice in this case here we are using a real coordinate system, a state plane coordinate system. We'll go ahead and export that information. We've got roughly 850 points, and just as quick now we have our information ready to go and that can be transferred to our robotic total station. Last but not least, let's move over into Navisworks. And so here we are in Navisworks, and we're going to create points in our environment in Navisworks. And let me pause on that real quick. Typically, Navisworks is a platform to view models, aggregate model information. There's little tools in there to do any type of creation. Well, with Autodesk Point Layout, we have the ability to go ahead and do that creation. So here we're selecting a couple points within a model here, and we're changing the scale and the color of those points so we can see them. So here we have it, creation of points within Navisworks. So this is great for that aggregated or federated model. We're bringing many file types together. We don't really care where they came from, but we have to do layout for them. Let's go ahead here, and we're going to automatically lay out some geometry. So we did a couple manual points. Now let's do some automatic geometry creation. We're doing that using a selection set. We can just window on the screen. In this case here, we're going to do the hangers, and create some hanger points for all these ladder bar hangers. There they are, and of course, that's the default there, but we can always go through, change the scale, change the color so they show up. And the big thing about this is we've created the points here just like in our other workflows, but we can export these out again to bring them out into the field.
When you execute work, there are a number of common elements. And at the center of the project, the organizing element tying everything together. By putting a model at the center of your project and gaining additional levels of information, you can gain deeper insight into the project's cost, schedule, and constructability. Connecting the processes and technologies you're already using today through a BIM environment can help you drive a more efficient execution of project work. With more information, you work smarter, making better decisions on how to execute work across all areas, in the office or in the field. We just spent some time talking about 3 ways you can do more with the I in BIM to help unleash the potential of BIM and improve estimating, accuracy, and production of your projects. Let's talk about what you think of these ways and how you think these and other methods can help grow your business. So that's not really us. To help facilitate this conversation, I'd like to introduce the PPI expert panel. Kevin Faraka. Kevin is a part of PPI's exceptional technical support team and offers expertise in Civil 3D, AutoCAD, Navisworks, and Point Layout. Richard Hill. As our resident laser scanning equipment expert, Richard provides sales, training, support, and customer service. He also serves as our manufacturer relations manager and 3D laser scanning director. Jesse Thompson. At the helm of our software product sales and business development, Jesse works diligently to ensure his team and our customers has the most current solutions to remain competitive and profitable.
Great information, Wendy. Thank you very much for this time to speak. I'm very honored that you guys could join us together today. And as far as my take or my role in this presentation is I work with clients and help out on live projects as well as training and things like that for collecting data, whether it's total stations or laser scanning, but in particular I focus mainly on 3D laser scanning equipment with the primary focus on the Faro, that's F-A-R-O, laser scanning system. And should you guys have any questions at all, please queue those up, and Wendy is pulling that up right now, so we'll be able to address any questions as we go along. I'll turn the mic over here to Kevin Faraka, and we'll go from there.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm Kevin Faraka. I work in the technical support and training department for software and the software division, specializing in Civil 3D and Navisworks. I also dabble in Revit, and I am the lead on the point layout as well as the quantification systems. Jesse, have you got anything for us?
I think I'd like to ask Richard what his experience with different types of software out there. You know, I know ReCap is a fairly new addition to the laser scanning world, and just, you know, compared to what softwares were in the past, and how difficult it was to transfer data from laser scans to, you know, to Revit, for instance, or Civil 3D. And have you seen, what kind of improvements have you seen with ReCap?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So typically in the past we've had to use checkerboard targets or spheres or any number of targets to merge our scans together, each individual scan location, to create one single point cloud for the entire structure or the area of interest. So with ReCap, it really set us, it put us in the new era of being able to work with scan data where they, you know, like it was discussed in the video, we can take just a few points within the point cloud, wall surfaces, roughly picking, and it actually analyzes the point cloud itself and merges those scans together to create one point cloud from all the positions. So it's a very powerful, very quick way to be able to merge your scans, where before we had to, you know, have quite a bit of training to achieve those different goals of one point cloud for the entire structure. Now, moving on from that, there are more and more tools being released within the Autodesk products. Like right now, you can take scans straight into Revit, as they kind of showed, and without any extra add-ons whatsoever, you can literally snap to the point clouds, slice the data, so where you're just seeing basically a cross-section of the data, and hide the floor and the ceiling, so you're literally looking down on the walls, and you can actually snap walls to that and draw walls along the point cloud, essentially. A lot of people are using the same workflow for as-built verification without having to do too much of a workflow, where they'll bring scans into Revit or Navisworks, either do clash detection or just do visual checks where they isolate just a part of the point cloud and a part of the model that are supposed to coincide. They should have the same coordinate system for the point cloud as well as the model, and with that, with those being merged together, you'll be able to say, oh, the pipe is off by this much, you know, let's say 2 or 3 inches. Let's move the 3D model over to match the point cloud, and now we've done as-built verification and created an accurate position on the model itself relative to the scan data. So it's a very powerful tool to be able to do that, and that doesn't require any additional software whatsoever. Of course, as we move up the ladder for different deliverables or things that are needed, there are other solutions out there that are very, very powerful to do actual modeling. If you don't have a three-dimensional model and you want to build something from the scan data, bring that into Navisworks, Revit, AutoCAD, Plant 3D, all the different products that were mentioned before, even Inventor and things like that, then you can do that basically starting from scratch, but really you're not starting from scratch because you have the scan data that's very, very accurate within just a couple millimeters on the surfaces and stuff. So starting with scan data, it's a very powerful tool to get situational awareness and figure out exactly what you need. Yeah, hopefully that answered your question, Jesse. So.
Yeah, that's great. One other question. I know in the past people have sort of looked upon laser scanning as a, you know, as sort of this very complicated, detailed, you know, project, you know, very expensive way to, you know, to do an as-built. And then, you know, what's your comments on the last, you know, let's say 3 or 4 years with the, you know, the size of the scanners, the price of the scanners, the software development, you know, through Autodesk. You know, are you now seeing architecture firms and engineering firms that normally, you know, in the past wouldn't take this on? Are you seeing them, you know, adding this to their business portfolio? Is this something that, you know, or is there still kind of a delay or an apprehension from a lot of our clients?
That's a great question as well. So it all comes down to workflow. How easy is the system to utilize and collect data, bring it in, and then utilize it and create a deliverable or just verify locations of where items are, or create models from that, whether they're just real simple floor plans or as far as going to analyzing a wall or a concrete floor for any kind of sumping or bowing and things like that. So it really comes down to workflow, and what we're finding is all of pretty much every construction, architectural, engineering, and surveying firm, as well as electrical and well, I mentioned that basically AEC, MEP, and even as far as law enforcement, everybody's looking at laser scanning because of the workflow has become simple. That's not with every brand. Some brands of hardware still have a pretty detailed workflow that is many steps. With our system, and what my goal is my sole job is laser scanning. So I constantly work on workflow. I'm always looking at softwares and stuff. So right now I'm able to go to a firm, show them within an hour's time, collect 3 or 4 scans of let's say a room or a pump house or something, bring those in, merge the scans together, and then bring those into a Revit or a AutoCAD or Navisworks environment, all in that hour's time, where before it would have taken us a half a day to go through that workflow. So, and literally the hardware is becoming so intelligent that we literally pick a couple settings as far as resolution, so how dense the data is that we want to capture or how rich it is. Pick a couple settings that way, whether or not we want to collect photos with the system as well, and hit the green button to have it start scan. It's very important, more so than the settings, of where you place the scanner to capture what you need to down the road. So if you need to get a pipe rack or a house or outside exterior, place the scanner in the best spot. So I physically stand there and look around, and whatever I can see is what the scanner is going to hit, basically. So I place the scanner in several locations to best complement line of sight. Once we've done that, then we can just scan several times. With the new technology, it only weighs about 15 pounds with the tripod and everything, and we don't have to power it down. We literally just pick our favorite settings, walk over to the next spot, hit the green button. Once it's done, after about 6 to 8 minutes, we pick it up again, go to the next spot, hit the green button again, and scan again. It's literally that quick. I'm more of a technical sales guy, so I want to show you guys the actual workflow live and in person, and so if anybody's interested in that, I would be more than happy to show you guys. I don't prefer to use canned data at all, so that way people that are always trying to stay out of data collection, they can now see, well, I can save all this money on hiring out for data collection, on doing it ourselves, and having somebody in-house that's like let's say a surveyor or architect or something that's understands the idea of why should I collect here, what do I need to grab as a deliverable and things like that. And yeah, so it's come a long ways. And there's different levels. Some people will just collect data, some will collect data but then also model, some will collect data and just do as-built verifications. But any one of those, we should be able to help with that workflow and show you guys what can be done and recommend a few different softwares and see which one best fits your needs.
Thanks, Richard. Now, are you seeing, in the past, laser scanning was used on, like, for instance, the Seattle Central Library. I remember 10 years ago I was out there, and they had a huge laser scanner out there that was worth $300,000, and they had a team of people working on it. Are you seeing, and so that the idea is that laser scanning was always, it's really used for the bigger projects. Now, are you seeing people now sort of doing small, TI improvements or, getting existing conditions? Are you seeing a lot smaller jobs being used for this at this time?
Absolutely. So it really comes down to if you own a scanner, which is scanners anywhere from 45 to 60,000 in that range. But if you own a scanner yourself internally, they use it just about on everything, because even if it's a simple little pump house where you're just doing a retrofit or a remodel on something like that, or a small site, how many times would you have to revisit that site with a person to measure something or what have you, or check, is that flange opening this way or that way, or which way does the valve go, or which way is it facing, what color is that pipe? Just a number of different things that may not show up in your measurements or your photos. So if you go in and scan even a small site, you're able to then visit the scene or the area, the job in the office, and do measurements, do modeling, elevate the project to a new level, really, and you never have to revisit the job site. So we also offer rental systems, rental Faro units as well, for people that have small projects but they're not ready to pull the trigger on a large purchase of 40 to 60,000. So we rent scanners at anywhere from $650 to $1,000 a day, or $1,950 to $3,000 a week, and then we also charge for training stuff. But it's very, very manageable to build that into a project where you can actually go out and work with, like myself, and I'll show you how to do the process on the first project. But then you'll kind of realize very quickly that the workflow is actually pretty straightforward and simple, where you can easily document it and move forward on your own and just rent as needed. Or if you find that you're using it on every project and the rental is getting quite high, then that's when you start looking at purchasing. So.
Great, thank you. Kevin, just based on your clientele, are you seeing with Autodesk Point Layout, what kind of feedback are you getting from users on the product?
Excellent. It's because of the ease of use and the multiple platforms that you're in, we're seeing lots of people utilize or jump to the Point Layout. It can be used, you've got different, I guess, areas where this could fit in. You have the design builder that can offer it as a service, or the designer can offer it as a service and implement it inside their Revit families and be able to give the contractor those points. Or you've got the contractor, if they own one of the Autodesk solutions, can bring the Point Layout routine in and spot anything they need to. So it's very quick, very easy, and it can be used anywhere throughout the process. And it's the adoption of it is going over very well.
Yes, we held an event here in Seattle at the Seattle Revit User Group meeting last month, and boy, it was really, people really saw the value instantly with it, and it's really, that there's always been a bit of a clunky workflow before Autodesk Point Layout to get points into a data collector or into a total station to lay out those points. It was a very cumbersome, tough process. But now, I mean, after the reaction we saw at that event, people were really seeing instant value in Point Layout. So.
Yeah, the biggest feedback I get are from people who are using it, especially for slab layout and putting in their sleeves, where they would very costly mistakes if you put a sleeve in the wrong place and you have it in the middle of the room rather than coming up the wall where it's supposed to. And they cut those errors down to almost nothing with the Point Layout routine.
Thank you for your time today. To bring things back full circle, PPI Group works closely with construction companies like yours to help you win more work and deliver projects with more predictability and less risk of unforeseen conflicts, changes, and scheduling delays that can drive up the cost of materials, labor, and overall project. Let's get started on the next steps for you. Give us a call to schedule a more customized demonstration for your organization. Let PPI come to you with our construction industry solutions and help you win more work.